Hi, katzcradul here. I'm going to make a short little tutorial here. I get a lot of questions about my flat top stove and canning on this flat ceramic top surface. A lot of people have these and are worried because the manufacturer says you can't can on them. I can very successfully on mine, but there are a few considerations and a few things I want to tell you about in case you either have a ceramic top or are planning on purchasing one. If you will notice, there are darker circles here which indicate where the heating element is under the surface. Here's a smaller one back here. This one is just a warming surface. One of the things that is a consideration is that whatever is under this darkened surface is specifically designed to handle extreme high temperatures. And if you use a pot or a canner that is much larger than this circle, then the pot is trapping heat under this portion of the stove outside the circle that was really not designed to take that much heat. So if you're going to can on this surface, I recommend that you not get one of the huge pressure canners, but that you get one of the smaller ones so that you're just setting it on this element. Now I've got my boiling water bath canner, which is substantially larger than that burner, but typically I don't have this on for long periods of time, like 90 minutes, like you would have if you were canning meat in a pressure canner. I use this just to sterilize my jars in and also to process jams, jellies, tomatoes, any high acid foods, and it's not typically used that long. The other consideration, I'm going to try to show you this without steaming up the camera. Always lift that lid away from you, let it drain, and then put it down. I knew that would happen. Okay, we'll wait just a second. I am sterilizing some half-pint jars today because I'm going to make a strawberry rhubarb jam. I'll post that video and show that to you. But instead of filling up this pressure canner all the way and just loading it up with water, I put my jars in, I fill my jars with water, and then I generally only cover them about a ½ inch. The reason being is I don't want this canner to be so heavy that it cracks my glass surface. So I always use the least amount of water I can to keep the weight off the surface. I also try not to have a lot of other pots sitting on the stove, so I'm not cooking supper when I'm canning. The only other thing I usually have on the stove is maybe the food I'm processing and a pot with my lids. I haven't put water in this yet, to keep my lids ready to can with. You'll also note when I put these in here, I put each lid in a ring. It's so much easier to get them out, and then I stagger them as I put them in, and it makes canning a lot easier. So this will just have a little bit of water in it, and the weight on this will be very light. The other thing, the other problem I see, and if you have a pressure canner that only has a weight and doesn't have a gauge, canning may be a little more problematic. Because this is electric, you will notice if you don't have a pot on here that this will get very orange when the element is working, and then it will look darker like this as the element cycles off. Some people suggest that in a pressure canner that it cycles off too often, that you're not able to keep the temperature in those jars up where they should be. Well, I don't think that's a problem. If you have a gauge on your canner, say you're supposed to can at 10 pounds of pressure for 75 minutes. If you get it up to 10 pounds of pressure and it stays there, the temperature is high enough that you're not in the danger zone, so I wouldn't worry about that. The other thing is, you will notice on this burner, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but there's some slight stains here, just a few that I haven't been able to get off. This one could come off, but this one right here and this right here, this is when I was new to using this stove, and I kind of slid my loaded pressure canner onto this burner. Well, the metal bottom of the pressure canner made these scratches. I don't think they affect how well this burner works, but it does leave a little bit of a mark. So I've been very, very careful now and you should too if you have this type of surface, to gently set your metal pots on the burner and not slide them across the burner. And this is really tough if you've got a hot pot that's full of water, but you know, call somebody else in your house and ask for help if you're going to try to lift it instead of sliding across the surface. Read your manufacturer's instructions. I'll post a link to Pick Your Own website where they have more information about canning on a glass top stove. I hope this helps you and answers some of your questions. If you have any other questions, you can just post a comment or send me a PM and let me know. I may not have the answer for you, but I'll try to find it. I hope this helps. Cat's Cradle.